Good afternoon or good evening wherever you are in the world, and welcome to my little corner of the internet. Roll the intro. I'm back, guys. I missed this. I mean, I don't even have anything I could say. It's been 2 years. I said I was going to be back next week. I don't even have an excuse anymore. Life just got really busy. I've been working abroad or living in shared accommodation, and it's just been really hard to try and film for my YouTube channel. The whole time, just so you know, for the last 2 years, I've really wanted to, and I've just decided now, regardless of whether or not it's convenient, I'm just going to make it happen. So, welcome back, and I'm sorry. Alright guys, so I'm going to be mixing it up a little bit on this channel now. I absolutely love DIY videos, and I will still be doing them. However, I want to mix it up with a few other types of things I also really enjoy doing. If you've been watching any of my other videos, you'll probably know that for the last 3-ish years, I've been working different types of seasons, so working abroad, working in residential places, and there's not a lot on YouTube about that, and I know that a lot of young people find themselves in that position where they're about to go abroad. I just want a little bit of information, so I thought I would do a little mini series where I give some tips and information and opinions and stories about working a season, and just put it out there, because there's not a lot of it out there. So this is going to be the first episode of Seasonaire Survival Guide. So what I'm going to be talking about today, guys, is 5 tips to survive a ski season. 5 things that I think it would be really helpful to know that I only knew because I did a lot of research, and it would be easy to miss and make your life a little bit harder. Okay, so tip numero uno. Seasonaire discount. Different resorts, different places, different countries are always going to be different. How many times do you say different in a sentence? I personally have worked 4 seasons now. Most places will give you some kind of card, especially abroad. If you're in like a little tight-knit resort, try it everywhere. Anywhere you go, even if it isn't on the list of places or no one's recommended it, walk in and just say, I work here, do I get any discount? Even if you don't have a Seasonaire discount card or any kind of Seasonaire proof, your name badge works just as well. I've used that multiple times. Just try it everywhere. You've got nothing to lose. All they'll say is no if you don't, or you might get 20% off, 15% off. And when you're working on a Seasonaire kind of wage, which I'm happy to go into another video and talk a bit more about that, but when you're working on the wage that a Seasonaire gets, it's not great. So you want to find any way to save a little bit of money. Tip number 2, get yourself one of these. Not necessarily this one, but this is a Caxton card, and it's one of the many different types of FX cards that are available. This is the one I chose. I'll be honest, I didn't do a great deal of research onto what other types there were. I'd seen this one recommended in a couple of places. The company I did my first season for actually recommended it, along with a couple of others. It worked perfect for me. You can upload from your phone, so literally online banking, have all your bank details registered to the app, the Caxton app, and just slide across like £50 or like however much you want to put on your card at a time. It works in loads of different countries around the world. The good thing about it is if you had some money left over at the end of your season, because obviously it's really hard to work out exactly how much money you're going to spend on a season, you can transfer the currency on it, I believe. So if I was spending in euros like I was when I was in France and I came back to the UK, this card would work in the UK and I could transfer the money into pounds, so I'm not going to lose out. It still is affected by exchange rates, but you would be if you were transferring your money back to cash anyway, and with this it's just a click of a phone and you don't actually have to go to the bank or anything. The main benefits of having an FX card are it will save you money, because using your bank card abroad is going to cost you in pretty much everywhere drawing out money will have a fee, and spending in the shop is going to have a fee now. It's not a huge amount. I think it ended up being like £2 or something, which is fine if you're drawing out £100 or £200 at a time. But if you're just trying to use your card to pay in a shop and you're buying a drink and a packet of sweets or something, for example, and that came to like less than a £5, you're paying almost half that amount of money to be able to pay with your card. It definitely makes sense to get a Caxton card or any FX card. Another massive benefit, which actually helped me out once, was when you're working a season, there is a good chance that you will at some point lose some kind of possession. I never lost my phone, but I'm one of the few people who I know who didn't. I lost my bank card once, but I didn't actually lose it. I found it a week later in my other ski jacket. I just forgot which one I'd worn. But during that week, I believed I'd lost my card. I had cancelled it, I had ordered a new one. Had I not had my FX card, I wouldn't have been able to spend any money. Basically a backup card that I didn't need my bank card to use. I could just load money from my bank account straight on the app. I know it's not the reason that you're meant to get an FX card, but it is something to seriously consider, and it definitely helped me out. Okay, tip number 3, FOMO. FOMO is a massive part of seasons. For me, it was hard. It's something I really struggled with. Fear of missing out, overdoing it, taking on more than you can manage, more than you should, because you're worried if you don't go out one night, or you don't go for lunch, or you don't do what everyone else is doing, that you will miss out on an amazing night. What I'm going to tell you is you won't, because if you are in a mental space that you need a break and you need to be away from people for a little while, then you are not going to enjoy that night. You're not going to enjoy that outing. As amazing as it sounds, there'll be others. You're not there for a week. Often you're there for 6 months, 8 months sometimes. Stay in, meditate, go for a walk, go for a run. Whatever it is that you need to do for you, find it and make sure you take time to do it. Because if you overdo it, honestly, it will take so much joy out of the season for you. It's an amazing experience, but you have to make sure that you look after your own self and your mental health before worrying about going to every single experience, because it will happen again. Okay guys, so on the same kind of line as the FOMO thing is put yourself out of your comfort zone. Make sure you are experiencing things. Make sure you're not missing out on the stuff that you might regret when you get home. That environment is such an amazing place, whatever season you work. People pay to go to these places that you're working on holiday, and you get to live that experience. You get to do all the things they get to do and more, and you don't have to experience it solely as a tourist. It's an incredible opportunity, and you're getting paid to do it. Like, it's hard work, but every now and then step back and remember what you are actually being offered, and there'll be stuff out there that you'll never be able to do again in your life, or very unlikely going to be able to do again in your life. There was a day that me and some friends rented some fat bikes, which are basically mountain bikes with really big wheels designed for snow, and we basically rode these bikes up this hilly mountain. It was freezing cold. It was all on roads. It wasn't like, we weren't trying to ride literally up a mountain, but it was up a very steep hill. It was freezing. Wind was blowing all over the place. There was snow like blowing off the floor into our eyes, but it wasn't actually snowing at the time. It was the most beautiful sky I've ever seen. Incredible views, and at the time I know I was thinking, I'm hating this is unbearable, but I look back on the photos and think of that memory, and I can only remember my friends stayed in that day. Like, I wouldn't have remembered if they stayed in and sat in the sauna, which is amazing, but I can do that any night. I'll post a couple of the photos here just to show you how absolutely insane the views actually were. And when you're given an opportunity to say yes to something that you're not 100% sure if you're going to enjoy, think of that. Remember this story. Remember, I hated riding my bike up that mountain, but I look back on it only with fond memories. Okay, tip number 5. This isn't so much a tip as something to be aware of and prepared for, and that is mid-season blues. Now, if you're working a ski season, I haven't actually done a an abroad summer season, so I can't comment if it hits in the same way, but ski season, mid-season blues are a well-known thing. You get out there, you're having an amazing time. You get out there about November, you're really loving November, you're really loving December, you're skiing, you've got Christmas, Christmas passes, January comes. January's a sad month anyway, and then you're hit with mid-season blues. You don't want to be there, you're tired, you're cold, you're fed up of it, the job's getting hard, the guests might be getting a little bit challenging, and you're just thinking, why am I here? Like, I could just go home. And I've known so many people to go home during mid-season blues, but you have to fight for it because it gets better. Once you hit about mid-February, the weather starts warming up a little bit a lot of the time, more parties start happening. It just, once you hit February, mid-February, it starts peaking again. What I would suggest is save those experiences. If you know there's something you really want to do while you're out there, book it for January, because you know that you're going to need a little perk at that time. Something to basically uplift you and remind you that you are in an incredible place. Team games are a great one. We used to play a game called Balloon Babies, where everyone would get paired up with somebody and they'd get an inflated balloon and you've got to keep it alive. But if you leave it unattended or anything, somebody can pop your balloon. So they can't pop it if you've got it with you. So between you, you've got to look after it. We had people going skiing with the balloons in their backpacks because their partner was working, or we had people literally doing their shift, like chefs in the kitchen doing their shift with their balloon baby sitting next to them on the counter. It's just a really uplifting thing. Things that you know are going to perk people up. Like, take it on yourself to bring a bit of positivity, because if you do it and you start lifting the mood, other people will bounce off it and do the same, and it will have a positive effect on the whole environment. It is challenging, but I promise you mid-season blues won't last the rest of the season. It's just a phase you've got to get through. Alright guys, so those are my 5 survival tips for today. Like I say, those things definitely helped me, and I would have loved to have a little bit more information about them beforehand. Like I say, I know that there's not a whole lot of information about seasons on the internet. Having done a few now, I know a little bit more, so if you have got any questions, I'm more than happy to do a Q&A, and if you've got a particular video you want me to do a focus on, I've got a couple of ideas, but leave it down in the comments below and I will happily incorporate whatever you guys are wanting and get those ideas going. I really want to be able to say I'm properly back on YouTube now, but I've said it so many times and not been truthful, so my honest intention is to start consistently making videos again. Not every week probably, but as often as I can, and I promise you I'm going to do my best to stick to that. And do you know how bad it had got? I forgot how to press record on this camera. My tripod was the dustiest I've ever seen anything. I didn't even remember where it was. I've had to spend like 45 minutes digging and finding my batteries and my chargers and everything, but it's all done. We're here. We've done it. If you notice, I've done a little bit of rebranding, my header and my logo. I don't know why I'm pointing, like I know where any of these things are in relation to where I am, but let's do this. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed. I promise I will be back with a video soon. Have a lovely day. As always, be safe, be happy, be ambitious, and I will see you later.